how long have you been doing this?
Since 1993. Actually,
Wow.
that was the year that Warren Farrell's Myth of Male Power came up, and reading that sort of turned my life around, and I've been doing this ever since.
Mhm. And was there like a moment that red pilled you? Like, how did you get into the space?
Well, the book played a role in red pilling me, but what happened after that, I worked in a residential treatment facility. And I came into work after reading that book. In one of our staff meetings, I asked everybody why we were assessing every woman that came into our facility for whether or not she'd been a victim of domestic violence. And we were assessing all the men who came into our facility for whether or not they'd been perpetrators of domestic violence. And we weren't asking women whether they were perpetrators or men whether they were victims. I
Wait, what type of facility was it?
Substance abuse treatment.
Oh, and so they would automatically ask the women if they were victims and ask
Yes.
the men if they were Is that because of the Duluth model, right?
That was the Duluth model, and it
Yeah.
also goes back to just sugar and spice
Hmm.
narrative about women and men are bad, women are good
Hmm.
narrative that's been around as at least as long as Duluth or longer. But when I asked about it, I got hostility. I mean, there was outrage among
Okay.
my peers for even asking the question. And my first thought was, I think I'm over some kind of target here. I don't know what it is yet,
Hmm.
but I'm going to find out. And I've been finding out ever since.
And so did you end up like leaving the facility or
Yes.
how did that
I
play
ended up
out?
leaving the field
Oh wow.
and doing my own thing. I just couldn't take it anymore because
Hmm.
there was a lot more problems than that. And some problems not even gender related. The recidivism rates in chemical dependency treatment are abysmal, and lots of other reasons to leave.
Hmm.
But my interest in men's issues took me into counseling men, and
Hmm.
that's what I've been doing.
And what would you say are the common problems that men come to you with?
They've been screwed over by
Yeah.
women for the
Yeah.
most part. I mean, I'm not casting dispersions here,
Hmm.
but of the men I talk to, 98% of them, whatever life circumstances they're dealing with at the time, go back to decisions that they've made regarding women, getting married to the wrong women, getting the wrong woman pregnant, getting in a relationship with somebody who'll make false allegations, all these things, and not screening women. It goes back to that. But their drinking, their drugging, their depression, their suicidal ideation, all kinds of life problems. When we talk long enough, we get back to the women in their lives and what they were expecting. Guys think I'm going to meet a girl and fall in love, and she's going to love me back, and we're
Yeah.
going to go off happily ever after into the sunset. And then they find out that it doesn't really work that way.
Hmm.
And it's devastating for them.
And you found that even people that are men that are struggling with substance abuse, it's mostly women too.
Well, absolutely. I
Hmm.
mean, a lot of guys drink over bad marriages.
Right.
They're miserable. They don't know what to do. They have children. If they get a divorce, they're worried about. Sometimes the wife is abusive, and the man won't leave because don't want to leave the children
Right.
with an abusive mother, and they already know the courts are going to give her custody.
Right.
So they stay and they drink or they drug or they engage in other risky behaviors or have affairs. Eventually, they blow up and slap her or something like that, and then that sets problems into motions.
And do you think this starts for men from childhood? Like, where do you think this comes from? This, because we were talking about it earlier. This, just the simping, like they just want to appease women all of the time.
Well, look at your average family or
Hmm.
people from my generation grew up in homes where it was an edict, you better make your mother happy. If
Right.
mother complains to father, you're in trouble, sometimes really abusive trouble.
Mm.
Um, so it starts in early childhood where father's off at work, they're left with the mother at home, they learn to please mom. They get manipulated. The child manipulates back, pleasing the mom, anything to make her smile. And that sets a behavioral pattern that they take into relationships. They go into their first year of school. It's all women. They have to
Right.
please the teachers. Their lives are shaped by women for the first 18 to 20 years
Hmm.
in almost all cases. And the men learn early to please women. That's where your mindset is at. It carries into your relationships, and it ends up making men very miserable.
So we've talked about it before, but just for the audience, what is gynocentrism?
Good question. It's on paper, gynocentrism is just a system of beliefs and attitudes and rules that focus on the well-being of women over the well-being of men. Our attention and energy is focused on making women happy, keeping them safe, giving them what they want. It goes back, oh gosh, at least 1,000 years to the advent of romantic chivalry, which is a big part of modern gynocentrism. Gynocentrism itself historically wasn't such a bad thing. If women weren't alive to have children,
right. Yeah.
we would have been in trouble, and they had to be able to protect children and nurture them and get them to where they were self-sufficient. So there were a certain amount of gynocentrism was absolutely an imperative for the human species. But once romantic chivalry hit the mainstream throughout Europe and then eventually in the West, it was more than keeping women alive. It was about keeping that smile on their face all the time. And if we fail, then there's a problem. And that's what led to a lot of simping.
Well, that's because that's kind of a new concept to me. You guys think that romantic shit, like romantic love, and I'm a little bit undecided on it.
Okay.
So I want you to convince me. Like, why is romantic love such a bad thing?
Because it puts unrealistic expectations on a relationship. Romance is about whining and dining. It's about, and let's be honest, romance is about making women happy. There's nothing in the romantic model that says a man has to be happy at all.
Yeah.
The romantic model says a man has to produce. He has to produce jewels. He has to produce nice things.
Right. There's no does she cook him dinner? It's always, yeah.
There's some of that, but it's always sort of like, a millionaire gets a wife who takes a part-time job in a dress shop. She says, here's my $200 to contribute to the $10 million you have in the bank. But back to the romantic thing, look at the model of how proposals go in the West. Everybody has that image of their mind of a man down on his knee, bearing a gift, jewelry that's supposed to represent 3 months of his salary. It's all set up. It's all arranged in advance. That's romance. Romance is laying rose petals at her feet. Romance is talking to her.
Worshipping women.
It is a worship thing.
Yeah.
Now, gee, what could go wrong there long term? If you start a relationship with that kind of unrealistic expectation, that only thing that matters is elevating her. The only thing that matters is her happiness.
And that's why you get these women saying they fell out of love.
Absolutely.
Because they came in with the expectation of romantic love.
And women aren't particularly romantic. There's another little flaw in that system, too. Men are.
Yeah. Men
are the romantic ones. I work with couples. I work with men post-divorce. It's always the men that are devastated by it, the broken hearts. I mean, I see it affects women, too, no doubt. But for most guys that I work with, by the time the divorce rolls around, she's doing well. Got a new boyfriend.
Right.
Probably had one before they ever broke up. She monkey branched right out of it. And women tend to do their grieving while they're in the relationship, and then they're done. And then a guy is like, oh, it's over now. Then he starts grieving.
You know what's crazy? Men will still talk highly about a wife that absolutely fucked them. Excuse my language. But like a guy will have been taken through the ringer of like divorce court, alimony, and they'll still find something positive to say about her. Where women could have a good guy and they'll absolutely trash him.
It's a lot worse than that in my experience. I worked with a guy once that had been divorced for 8 years, and he was still acting like a puppy trying to be let into his ex-wife's life. And I've seen that happen over and over and over again. It's almost like they can't divorce.
Yeah.
Guys she'll have sex with one of his friends and then call him a week later and say, I need you to help me move. And he'll show up.